Hi, my name's Andy, and this is Hiking with Andy. Hi guys, I am back on the trail today, and I'm home, and I'm on the trail that started it all. This trail I've probably been on 20, 30, if not more times. This is where I found my first wild caught Missouri snakes, and I'm so excited to be home and to show it to y'all. When I think about a Missouri glade, it is exactly like this. Open space, lots of rocky areas, a lot of seepages, and then we have a lot of these telltale glade style species. We've got the Missouri paintbrushes, don't know the name, think maybe black-eyed Susans, but just kind of this big expansive area. I don't know if anybody has described it this way, but there's always a smell of like eucalyptus. I have no idea why. I don't think Missouri has eucalyptus, I could be wrong, but species of snakes that I have seen out here, obviously ringnecks, your kind of fossorial species, speckled king snakes, and then the coolest would be coach whips, which are the fastest snake in North America. So I think a lot of things are going to be on the crawl today if we see anything at all. So there's a lot of ledges, and I'm just going to kind of look around. And there is a really cool trail after this glade area that we're going to go check out as well. Worm. Did rain last night, so I'm thinking that might help us. Oh, there's a scorpion. Awesome. Gotta check all the ledges. And even if we do get skunked today, just being back here is bringing back a lot of really awesome memories. So there are two sides to this glade. I'm gonna go the left side and then do the trail, and then come back and do the right side of the glade. The trail does go right through the middle. And even on these little rocks, you just never know. So we are on the back half of the trail, and it does get really cool. It comes down to this little creek area, and then it comes back up, and we'll get a view of Lake of the Ozarks on the end. But I really haven't done this complete trail in a while, and because it rained, we have this nice little creek bed, and it's really flowing today. It's really pretty. This area up by the cliffs, as I remember, there's always like turkey vultures hanging out. I guess it's a good spot to find where to scavenge, so it would not surprise me if they were hanging out up there, but we shall have to see. I do really like being home, and it just has a different feel to me. The only bad thing about it is the noise pollution is still a thing. You know, in the St. Louis area, you really worry about planes and cars and things, and out here it's just the sounds of boats all the time. I am honestly surprised we haven't seen at least a few box turtles. They are moving down here. I did see one on the road to get to where my parents live yesterday, and she was a pretty female, and teaching mom and dad about how to tell the difference between a male and a female. The female bottom part of her shell, it'll be completely flat, and the males, they'll have a concave area. You can tell we're getting closer to the lake. You can hear the boats like crazy. Alright, well, we have made it to the scenic overlook, and there are no turkey vultures to be found. I guess it's probably too busy. But yeah, this is a pretty decent drop if you were to fall off of here, so I'll try not to. But Lake of the Ozarks. Alright, well, I have taken in the view for today, and I'm gonna continue on. We're gonna come back down the trail and try to hit that other side of the glade. I'm a little hesitant on thinking anything's gonna be out just because there are a lot of people down here right now. First herp of the day, fence swift lizard. He's just hanging out. Perfect spot for him to be, get some sun. Oh, he's doing push-ups for us. Love to see it. And that is a male. You can see the blue stripe on his side. And these guys are interesting. If he's looking right at me. If you pick them up and you rub their tummy, they will actually kind of just like become in a frozen state and they'll just hang out. But this guy, really pretty. He is just looking at me. I'm not gonna hurt you, buddy. Nice to see you though. All right, I will leave you alone, sir. Have a good day. It's funny, as soon as I say, yeah, we're probably not gonna see much today. I mean, finding one lizard is not that big of a deal, but there's obviously life out here. Another thing that I would like to address about Lake of the Ozarks, a lot of people come down here to party and kind of aren't the best stewards of the natural area. They call the lake a cesspool, and then they cite things like, well, there's particular areas that they've had to shut down for E. coli and things like that. Well, I will say that a recent study came out that Lake of the Ozarks was the 4th cleanest lake in the United States, which is a little misleading, I will say. The majority of the time, your bad bacteria, things that they test for like E. coli, are going to be more minimal as the larger the body of water, just because the concentration of things are lower the more water that you have. But I will say, even in my lifetime, I have seen a drastic change in the ecosystem down here, and it's only been good. Certain areas have been closed because of E. coli, just because they're in backs of coves, right? So areas where things kind of get trapped. Of course, you're going to have issues with water quality if, let's say, there's Canadian geese, typically hanging out there. And in these areas, yes, you do have to be a little bit more cautious. But I will say the majority of the time, if you're in the more expansive areas of Lake of the Ozarks, you're going to be fine. We also had a story of the brain-eating amoeba that a water skier supposedly got while he was down here. And I will tell you that that amoeba is present in almost every warm water body. Very rare to even hear about it, because the way that it enters your brain is the water has to be pushed up into your nose and get into where your brain is at. And that usually doesn't happen unless you're like skiing or tubing, and it's super uncommon. But this happens everywhere. I'm telling you that the fact that this happened in the last year at Lake of the Ozarks has no indication about water quality. The unique thing that I've seen in my lifetime out here at Lake of the Ozarks is we have these kind of like gelatinous blobs. The local news actually called it like the blob is back. And they kind of look like a jellyfish or like eggs, and they'll attach to docks and like if your boat's been sitting in the water. But this is actually bryozoans, and they're huge indications that the water quality is like superb. This organism is only present in really healthy water. Try to not be worried about the people who are swimming right there, but there's some turtles on this log right here. There's like 4 or 5, and they're just all chilling right there. This spot was always pretty decent. I'm thinking things are probably not under rocks anymore. I think it's warm enough that everything's moving around. And like I have said in other videos, always make sure to put the rock back. Well, that's probably gonna do it for me today, guys. We did see a few things today. It wasn't super big on the critters today, but lots of nice views. Nice to be home. Thank you for coming along on the hike. Please like, subscribe, all of the things, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.